I wanted to share a story about a time when I was cleansing a house and the spirit in the house that I was removing actually influenced the physical realm of things. I'll explain more. I had a friend that had an issue with spirits coming into her house because she liked to speak with spirit a lot. So she would start speaking with different spirits and kind of inviting them into her house, not realizing it, and these spirits would stick around, and some of them would be good, some of them would be bad, some of them would bug her, and so on. So we cleansed her house about a month or two prior to this story, and she gave me a call and was like, hey, I'm having an issue with spirits again, and I feel like one is kind of not really a good spirit. And I kind of talked to her, I felt into it, and when I felt into it, I felt that there was a alcoholic spirit that was there. Like it was a spirit that was like an old drunk, and he was flirting with her and like influencing her with his energy and stuff. And I asked her, I was like, have you like had any urges to drink or anything like that? And she was like, that it's really crazy because I stopped drinking wine every day when I came home from work, and I was like, I'm done. I've stopped it. And recently I have felt the need to start drinking again. So I would drink a couple of glasses of wine when I got home, and I was over that at this point, but now she's doing it again. So at that moment, I knew what I was seeing was correct. So I told her I can come over, I can cleanse the house of this spirit, no big deal, and we'll move on. So I got to the house, and as I walk into her door, on the walls behind her, I see these faces. There's faces in all of the walls. And I'm like, there are so many spirits here right now that I can't even count them. In all of her walls there were spirits there, so there was just a lot of spirits being invited into this house. So I started my journey of trying to find this one spirit that I knew I had to release. And I walked into the bedroom and where I was led, and there was a closet there, and I felt like this spirit was hiding in the closet. So I opened it up, and he was kind of like hunkered down and like hoping I didn't see him. And I'm like, hey, I see you. You need to pass on into the light. We need to get you out of here. And he's like, I'm not passing on anywhere. I'm staying here. And then I called down Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, and started to open up the portal to pass him on. And as I was doing that, he was like, I'm not going. And then the angels were kind of like, yes, you need to go into the light. And we kind of convinced him to walk into the light. And he was like, whatever, fine, I'll go into the light. And as he did, he was walking, and there was this picture. It was like a big picture frame, like, I don't know, maybe 2, 3 feet tall. And it was sitting up against the wall. He was walking out of the closet over to the portal, and as he was walking, he was like, he kind of looked over to the side, and he was kind of smirking at me. And he was like, and he kind of went like this with his fingers and hit the pitcher like he was knocking it down. And in real life, that pitcher came off the wall and landed on the ground. And at that moment, the person there was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, no, like I just seen him do that. He really meant to do that, and he's trying to just give one last little scare or whatever, but he's going to be gone. And then he walked into the light and he was gone, and that was the end of him, thankfully. We closed the portal up, excuse me, and I went through the house and kind of was just checking things out. And then I walked out of the back, or I walked over to the back door of the house. And when I got to the back door, I looked out, and all along her fence line, like all four corners, there were spirits lined up in a line all the way around the fence, and they were going to this big tree in the middle of her yard. And I was like, what the hell is it? Like, why are they going to this tree? And I asked her, I was like, what have you been doing like in your backyard? And she was like, well, I've been creating a portal back there every night to allow the spirits to pass on through. And I taught her how to do that at this time. So, or I taught her how to do this previously and she started doing it. Or maybe I told her a story about someone who did it or something along those lines. And I was like, these spirits are like they're really waiting to be passed on. So what she was doing is she was opening up a portal and allowing these spirits to just pass on into the light, whoever needed to or wanted to. I caution anybody that doesn't know what they're doing, just don't do that. If you know what you're doing and you're very cautious about it and you can figure it out, then maybe look into it. But I'm telling you now, don't do it unless if you're a professional. It's not safe and it's just not a good idea. So, as I'm looking out there, I see this Native American woman, and this is all spirits, like in my mind, like in my imagination. Like if you didn't believe this stuff, you would just say you're crazy, but I'm not. I know I'm not, and I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm looking out at this, out in the yard, and there's this Native American spirit that's out there, and it's just looking at me, and it's just not happy with what's going on there. And I'm like, I'm sorry, everything's going to be okay. We're going to be done doing this. And it just didn't believe in like what happened and or what was happening. Like it didn't think that that was the right way to go about things. So I cleansed the house and we did our thing, and that was kind of the end of that. I went home. A couple of days later, I had an ornament fly off of my tree and hit my dog. And I was like, that's not cool. We're not doing that. And then my dog started yelping and then running into the other room. And I was like, what is going on here? Like something's messing with my dog. And I started seeing this black orb flying around my house, like in my house. And at this time, I was kind of newer to all of this kind of stuff. So I reached out to a friend and I was like, who was really good at that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm having, all these issues. Can you give me can you feel into it and help me out to understand what's going on? And she was like, she felt into it and she was like, did you recently cleanse someone's house? And I was like, I did actually. Um, and passed the guy on and so on. And she was like, okay, she said, because I'm seeing like a Native American spirit that's not happy about what you did, basically, and they don't agree with it, and like their traditions don't agree with that. And she said, and that's who's attacking you at this time, and somehow followed you home. So at that time, I just went through my house and I cleansed the house and got rid of that spirit. But it was just such a crazy turn of events. And I bring this story out, and of course, I always like to try to help you learn from the story. I want to just tell the story, but I also want to help people learn a little bit with the story. So first thing is, if you are speaking with spirit, like if you're someone that's sensitive to that thing and you can speak with spirit, and I know some people watching this may be like, this stuff's fake and it's not real. And um I mean, I don't know what to say to you besides, I mean, it is, I'm a perfectly sane person and I can speak with spirit, and I know many sane people that are speaking with spirit as well with tons of validation. um so anyway, if you're speaking with spirit, you have to be careful, because if you let's say you're at a museum or something and you look over and you see a spirit standing there and you start communicating with them, you're inviting them into your energy, you're inviting them into your house. Or if you sit down and you say, I want any spirit that's out there to come to me, that's inviting any spirit that's out there to come to you. Not a good idea, obviously. Any spirit can enter. And just be mindful of that, is just what I'm trying to say. And then if you're not 100% certain on how to do some kind of ritual or some kind of like spiritual thing, just make sure that you are consulting with someone who knows what they're doing, because you want to be safe. You want to make sure that you're not doing anything that is like that's going to jeopardize you or your family or your space or anything like that, because things can go weird really quickly if you don't know what you're doing um, when you're like doing that kind of stuff, like cleansing your house and stuff like that. And then other than that, I just want to say that spirit in the afterlife do still have beliefs a lot of the time. They have belief. They still are going along with their traditions and so on. And sometimes they are just passed on, and they are um, more wise and understanding of things, and they aren't so judgmental about the way you're doing something versus the way they believe you're doing something and so on. But you want to just be careful with that, because some spirits are kind of like an earthbound spirit, and they will feel a certain way about things. So, again, like always, I tell these stories because I hope that it helps people understand that these things are real, and that what you're seeing may be real and what you're doing may be real. And then just a little bit of insight on being careful with things. And I love telling stories about my experiences, and I think that stories help people learn the most because people can relate to it, and it just helps out. So I hope that you all enjoyed this story. If you want to see more, check out my podcast channel. It's Unscripted Minds. It's called Minds, and Minds Conversation. I don't even know what it's called because Facebook made me change my name, or they wouldn't let me create the account unless if I created a different kind of name. I don't know. It was weird. But I have a podcast, and I will link it in the description on this video. And you can also look on the Center for Healing Integration's Facebook page or YouTube channel, and you can see more of my stories. And I'm doing podcasts where I'm interviewing different people, and I just did one with an animal healer and communicator, and it's a very interesting podcast. So give it a listen, and let me know what you think. Have you ever experienced anything like this before? And what are your experiences with that?